Good morning, everyone. Howard Gearhauser here with my dad, Dr. G. In today's video, we wanted to talk about some of the positives that are coming out of this coronavirus pandemic. I know it's really easy to get fixated on the negative things, but there's actually quite a bit of positive that's come out. One big one, which is really interesting, is how Mother Nature and our Earth is responding to this pandemic. Because of the closure of a lot of the different companies and industries that have been polluting our oceans and our air and our rivers and lakes and whatnot have been shut down. And the earth is actually responding in a very beautiful way. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what's going on with that?
Well, our world, the way it does its economies is non-sustainable. I mean, you can just look around you and know that what's going on today, the way we're polluting everything, the way species are becoming extinct every single day, the sixth extinction. So there's been 5 major extinctions in geologic history, and we're in the 6th, and it's unprecedented. It's like almost like an asteroid hitting the Earth, which happened. The previous big extinction was an asteroid hitting the Earth. So that kind of impact is happening now on Earth from humans because of the way we pollute everything. Well, it's interesting that with this COVID-19 disease outbreak, like take China, for example, there's 3,000 to 4,000 people died from that disease, and a lot of chaos and a lot of sadness, and ICUs getting overcrowded, and not enough doctors, not enough respirators, all these different things that are tragic in a way. But if you look at the overall deaths, were like 3,000 to 4,000. When they shut down everything, they shut down their industry, they shut down their polluting. Well, the skies cleared up pretty rapidly, which is pretty amazing. These big cities have a history of having some of the worst pollution on the planet, and their skies cleared up pretty quickly. And then some experts, and I don't know, how they came up with these numbers, but some experts like from Stanford came up with some numbers saying that, well, 3,000 to 4,000 died, 50 to 70,000 people survived that would have died from lung problems from the pollution in that same period. So we're talking about a 20 to 1 life advantage by spreading a virus. Could it be Mother Earth, knows what, obviously I'm speculating, and obviously this becomes spiritual, but could Mother Earth be going, this is the only way I have now to defend myself before those mass extinctions become they pass a threshold to where we are also going to be extinct. And all that'll be left is cockroaches, although there's evidence that even cockroaches aren't surviving well today in our world, and many other insects and many birds and all species. So what this means really is we have some soul searching to do as everyone wants it to go back to business as usual, get the economies going right back to where they were, get the cruise ships going again, get the air flights going constantly, just jam up that atmosphere with exhaust from jets. We want people to travel more, not less. I think we have to rethink that. No one wants to hear that. And probably a lot of you are mad at me for saying that. And I understand, we are all programmed by the Matrix to believe that more is better, more is better, more is better. Consume. Take that plastic bag and fill it full of trash 7 times a day. I see my neighbors, one of those gigantic garbage cans isn't enough. They need 2 of them. It's like, what the hell are you doing? You need two, and they got stuff sticking out. They can't even close the door on it. And they have two of them. And mine is a quarter full. And I feel guilty about that because we are, we're pathetic. But I know that's the way it is. But here, change is being forced on us. Okay? So if we do recover, let's take a hint. Let's take a freaking hint. That no, I shouldn't use 6 plastic bags every single day. Plastic isn't something that's, maybe you can recycle it, but be sure it's recycled. Don't just assume by throwing it in the recycling bin it's going to be recycled, because chances are it isn't. It's not profitable to recycle. It's profitable to, pull oil out of the ground and make more and more plastic. So the oceans, have these islands of pure plastic. Every creature's full of microparticles of plastic now in the ocean. We've got to change that. And this is our chance, I believe. And I believe it's Mother Earth, giving us one last chance.
Yeah, and a lot of these things, because we have the modern convenience of like having a plastic bag at the grocery store, if the companies stop making the plastic bags because of like a pandemic like this where they have to shut down all operations, that's our opportunity to, bring your own bag to the grocery store. Is that difficult of a thing? When we start making these little changes, it can have a huge, drastic impact on the health of our earth. And this is our earth fighting back and saying, like you said, this is your last chance. We're going to break things down and it's going to be forced upon you. But what are you going to do with it once you have to start over? So let's wise up. We can't outsmart nature. We can't go against nature. It's way stronger than us. And we're seeing how resilient Mother Nature is with how quickly it's kind of healing itself with human beings just taking a break, even if it's just a couple months. Rivers are clearing up. The air is clearing up. You were mentioning something about animals thriving over this period of time. Could you explain that a little bit?
Well, I don't know. I haven't looked at those statistics, but I know we're in that massive extinction event, and something like this where instead of our pollution just continuing to expand, if it actually contracts a little bit. And so the economy going bust is probably the best thing that can happen for creatures, because they're not going to build that new parking lot and that new Amazon center on that beautiful meadow over there. They're not going to have any, enough customers to build that new freaking building or that new 11 million people city in China, the next one down the line. They're not going to have the money to do it. They're not going to be able to do 5G, which is sending out a wireless signal that disrupting bees and disrupting birds and disrupting babies and adults and grandpas and grandmas. All these things have an effect. 5G is going in the tank. We're not going to have 5G anymore. 5G was an expensive nightmare. And so now that we can't afford anything except real stuff, 5G vanished. And I was praying that 5G would vanish. And wow, my prayers were answered. It's just Elon Musk is not going to send 30,000 satellites into space to create tons more pollution in the atmosphere, and satellites beaming us with more of those waves so you can't hide. Even on the most remote rock in the middle of the desert, you're still being beamed, but no longer. Elon Musk is not going to send up 30,000 rockets in the next 2 years like he had planned, because it all came crashing down.
Yeah, and I think what we'll be able to gain from this is kind of looking at what were we doing right from a technology standpoint in terms of our connectedness and things like that. And then what were we doing that was more profiteering and pushing it too much to where Mother Nature had to pump the brakes and say, like, you guys are way overdoing it. We need to reset this, because there are benefits. We're not disputing that. And I think a lot of us know what those are,
Yeah,
but there's consequences too.
we're at here on social media because this is a great way to communicate. This is a great way to, you know, kind of orchestrate this transformation that we must have. But we want to do it where it's safe for life on Earth and life for us. And so we had that. We had the fiber optic system that was going to go, everything wired very fast, very efficient. But then, you know, then they got us hooked on cell phones. And, you know, oh, I don't want a wire. I don't want a wire. Well, maybe we have to have a wire, or maybe we can't figure out a wireless way to do things without harming things. Because that's the key. It's like, you know, we've got to make sure that we're not fouling our nest. You know, like a bird, you know, I guess birds sometimes shit in their nest, but, you know, birds try to shit outside their nest, because if you shit inside your nest, you foul your nest. And that's what humans are doing, is they're shitting inside their nest. And I think, you know, it got to the point where we're starting to topple over the edge. The shit was becoming so deep.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. We have to have awareness of both sides. It can't just be all about convenience and efficiency and money, you know, because with everything we do, there is an equal and opposite reaction to that. We have to be considerate of that as well. And we're learning that lesson right now. I know it's difficult for a lot of us, but try and see it from a bigger picture standpoint, that a lot of these things happening, a lot of these companies that are totally pushing the envelope and disregard Mother Nature aren't going to be able to fulfill their agendas, at least not as quickly. So it's a blessing in a lot of ways too. You can start to see some of the positive and use this time to work on yourself and take a break from the rat race and the go, 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 consume everything mentality that especially Americans are taught to buy into. I think you can see the beauty as well. So we're here to help you guys through this transition. We know it's not going to be easy, but it'll be well worth it in the end when we can be in harmony with our earth again and in harmony with each other again. Anything you want to add to that, Dad?
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity. I think, you know, when we look back on this 5 years from now, we're going to say this is the best thing that ever happened to us, because it kind of destroyed those things that were kind of on the edge of just pushing it way, like 5G, pushing it way too much, wasn't even proven safe, taking up so much of our resources, billions and trillions of dollars spent putting in the system. But luckily it was only halfway there, and now it's stopped. So, and that's probably true in many fields that I'm not familiar with. So we've got a second chance. You know, I think we were headed for, you know, a point reach very soon where there's no turning back, that, you know, we're just going to have disaster, a plague. Like, this is a plague, basically.
When things like the, I can't remember the exact name, the Elon Musk like chips being inserted into people's bodies and turning people into computers and things like that. We were on the border of all of these things being implemented. But your economy crashes, that stuff gets the brakes put on because you're just trying to keep people afloat at this point. So it's scary. I get that. Make sure you're doing your daily meditation, you know, to help relieve that stress. Go check out our videos on meditation if you haven't seen any of those. And try and see this perspective, because I really do think in a few years, maybe even sooner, we're going to look at this and say, wow, this was our chance to save the planet, and we really did it. So keep that in mind. Keep that optimistic perspective. Anything else, Pop?
Yeah, be optimistic. This is a good thing. But it never would have happened. We never would have been able to save the planet until the crisis happened. So the COVID-19 was kind of a crisis that in reality is a mini crisis. So, like Mother Nature or God or the cosmos is kind of giving us a nudge wake up call that isn't like an axe chopping you in half wake up call, like, an asteroid hits the planet, like happened to the poor dinosaurs. That was it. They didn't get a second chance. So we're getting a second chance. Let's make the best of it.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go check out our other videos. We're doing one a day. We might even do more than one a day coming up, since a lot of you are going to be quarantined at home. We want to help you out as much as we can. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.